it was like a week or two after I graduated, all the mass layoffs just started hitting every day in the news. And, you're like, okay, I just plopped down a bunch of money on this boot camp. What's going on? And it was frightening, especially because most of the job descriptions you look at, it's, oh, entry level with 2 to 5 years experience or something of that nature. But yeah, it was the biggest thing was that I did, I think that helped was setting a plan.
Welcome to the Junior Jobs Podcast, where we give new software engineers actionable job search advice relevant to today's job market. I'm excited for today's developer interview, where I talk with Todd McCoy, who was working in retail at the height of the massive layoffs and hiring freezes, but was still able to get his first job in tech. And our sponsor for today is Ilya Dorman with Code for Humans. Want to break free from tutorial hell or become a confident, capable developer? For the past 5 years, he's been mentoring developers to level up their skills, find work, or build a product from scratch. He understands the psychology of learning and will help you get unstuck, get focused, and handle overwhelm to boost your confidence. He also supports individuals with ADHD if that's your struggle. And today he's offering our listeners a free introductory call and 10% off his services, so just check out the link in the show notes to get started. Hello, Todd. Welcome to the show. Glad you could join us.
Eric, thanks. Glad to be here.
Yeah, so when you first reached out, you said something that was really interesting that I want to start off with, if that's okay. But when you scheduled this session, you mentioned that you encourage everyone to make their cover letter as weird as possible. Can you expand on what you mean by that?
Sure. I used to really dislike cover letters, always the generic format of I was so excited to hear about this job opening, blah blah blah. And I was encouraged while at boot camp to use it to tell a story. So my cover letter is all about how much I enjoy wearing kilts and why that makes me a better software engineer. And so, yeah, it was a feature of all of the interviews that I had. Everybody asked me about it. So I encourage everyone to highlight, if you like salsa dancing, talk about how that makes you a better developer, you know?
That is one way to definitely stand out from the other candidates. And in the position that you're in right now, was this actually a position that you were hired in after using that cover letter?
Yes. Yeah.
All right, so it does
It
work.
was about,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah. 20 minutes of my hour-long interview was talking about kilts in my cover letter.
Yeah, I guess at the end of the day, we're all people and people want to talk to people. People want to spend time hanging out with people. Part of the interview process is not just technically, can you do the job? That's probably the first and primary thing. But after that, is this person not a jerk? Are they fun to hang out with? Can I be friends with this person? Especially when you get to the team member interviews after like the hiring manager or recruiter interview. Well, good. Well,
Sure.
that's
Yeah.
good. So talking about your experience here and the actual job search, that's what we're all about here on the Junior Jobs podcast. So I want to dive into that and let's focus on like any other kind of actionable tips like you just mentioned there, because specifically your experience is very interesting to me. You found a job in January of 2023, which was probably the
Correct.
height of all of the massive layoffs and hiring freezes that we saw in big tech. So the fact that you were able to, in some way, maybe it was the kilts, push through and be successful in that market, I think can bring our audience a lot of hope. So let's start off with how did you do it?
Well, I graduated Prime Digital Academy, the boot camp that I went to here in Minnesota, graduated in mid-September of 2022 and, was started applying at the end of the boot camp. And then it was like a week or two after I graduated, all the mass layoffs just started hitting every day in the news. And you're like, okay, I just plopped down a bunch of money on this boot camp. What's going on? And it was frightening, especially because most of the job descriptions you look at, it's, oh, entry level with 2 to 5 years experience or something of that nature. But yeah, it was the biggest thing was that I did, I think that helped was setting a plan. one of the support structures from Prime was that there's a Monday morning virtual stand up for all alumni. So we get together, 9 o'clock, 9:30 Monday morning, and I'll talk about what our plan for the week is, what we did last week. It really kept me motivated, made me get out of bed and start the job search. Cause at that point, finding a job was my full-time job. Did what I can to tune out all the news of, oh, Meta just laid off 5,000 people and, the economy's doing this. And it was tough because you apply to a job and then hear nothing
Hmm.
or
Hmm.
an instant rejection.
In
And
those,
yeah, it
oh, I'm sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. No, it was just trying to play the numbers game and keep keep my head up, actually.
Yeah, it's a difficult time, and you're not the only one that has gone through that. It is not uncommon for the mentees that I talk to for it to take them months post graduation to get that first job. And I think a lot of people underestimate the difficulty of the current market when they're just focusing on the education piece in the middle of the boot camp. So I
Sure.
appreciate you bringing some of the reality and some of the difficulty of the job search up front to any of our listeners that haven't really jumped into it yet. So you
Yeah.
mentioned the process, right? So every Monday morning there is that stand up. I just have to ask,
Mhm.
did you have people that were successfully reporting, "Hey, I'm getting interviews. Hey, I just got an offer," attending that stand up? Or kind of what do those conversations look like?
There was some of that occasionally. There was one, well, I know it happened because I know the guy that it happened to, even though I wasn't there at that particular meeting, that he actually got a job offer during the stand-up
Oh
call.
my gosh.
So everybody saw him, like, he was on mute and everybody saw him just going nuts and like, "Whoa, what happened? What's going on?" And so that was really encouraging for a lot of folks. But yeah, there were folks that normally your report was, I applied to 50 jobs last week. I applied to, you know, these two that I was really excited about, or I got a phone in screening or what have you. But it was less and less as time went on that like, oh, yeah, it's more, I got ghosted by 15 different
Yeah.
applications. Hooray.
Yeah, but the fact that you are meeting together with other people that are going through a similar situation, I
Mhm.
think it's just got to give you some sort of community and some sort of support. If you were just to try to
Very
be
much.
on your own, that can be incredibly like self-defeating and maybe even cause you to give up, right? But you can support and strengthen each other since you're meeting so frequently.
It was very, very nice to know that like, okay, it isn't just me.
Yeah.
Like this is happening to everyone. That was v- very
Yeah,
hopeful.
very true, very true. So you mentioned the plan then. So that was your Monday. You had that stand up. What did the rest of your job search kind of strategy look like? Focusing on less what didn't work, but kind of the
Sure.
path that led you to the role that you're in right now. How did that get kicked off?
Sure. For me, it was being clear about what I had to have versus what'd be nice and what didn't really matter. So, like, for me, I wanted my first role to be either hybrid or completely in office because I wanted that one on one mentoring collaboration. And I wanted to work for a larger company and wasn't really looking at startups. So, we're just planning like what kind of companies am I looking for? What kind of positions do I want to do? And picking, four or five, sometimes two every day. Like I'm going to intentionally apply to this and then hitting the LinkedIn easy apply on 10 to 15 others, just hitting a certain amount every day so that I was putting stuff up on the scoreboard, as it were, keeping myself motivated. But the biggest thing for me was knowing like what I wanted in that first
Hmm.
role.
And then you
And
got that in your first role. Is that correct? Or
yes,
okay.
yeah, yeah. The position I'm in now was the number one choice on my list.
Oh, nice.
So I was very fortunate in that regard. So
So then for the role you're in right now, let me just pull up your profile here. Okay, I see you're with Travelers.
Mhm.
How did you find that opportunity?
I found it through actually some other Prime alumni, folks that went through the boot camp that I went to. They'd come back as guest speakers to talk about, what it's like being in your first role and all of that. Very similar to what we're doing here. And it just sounded like that sounds like a great place to work. So I looked into the company and the roles that they offered, and it just really checked all the boxes for me that what I was looking for.
When you mentioned you checked out the company and the roles that they offered, is this a LinkedIn Easy Apply? Is this on their website? Is this on some other job board
This was on their website.
website? Okay.
Yes. I went to directly to that was the one thing I did. The companies that I'm like, I really want to apply for this job. I went directly to the company website just because I feel like it looks a little better. I don't know if the recruiters can really tell or not,
Sure,
but
sure.
um,
I will say one thing, this is just based off of my experience. So, full disclosure, I don't have any numbers around this, but junior roles, since there's such a large supply of new developers trying to find work, companies really
mhm,
aren't going to be investing a lot of money into trying finding junior talent. So while they may spend money to post openings on LinkedIn or Indeed or monster.com or what have you, they only do that because they're trying to explicitly go after developers that are or have a few years of experience and are thus the pool of candidates is a lot slimmer. But junior
sure,
developers, since there's a dime a dozen, so to say, oftentimes I see companies just posting those openings to their website because then they don't have to pay to advertise it. So the fact that you went to their website directly, I think is an approach that a lot of juniors can or should also follow. Yes, you may find some entry level openings on these job aggregators, but most likely just go to the website themselves explicitly because you might do a better job at applying to roles that you see there because they may not exist elsewhere.
it also gave me a chance to really get to know the company, so that when it came time for the conversation, I wasn't just like, I want a job and you have an opening.
Mhm.
It's like, no, you have this history and this is what I like about the company. This is what excites me about it.
Yeah, as a
And
it
I think that kind of stuff makes a difference.
that's always a silly question in an interview, right? So, why did you apply to this role? Like thinking that, you know,
Yeah.
"Oh, insurance inspires me," in the traveler's
Yeah.
example, it's like are you're hiring and you pay, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what interests me
I
about your
like paying
position.
rent. Like, yeah. Um,
So, okay, so you found that opening on their website after having talked with some alumni that had come back to speak. So now you've applied, you hear back from them, and you are approaching the interview. So help me understand at that point, you come from a background in retail. So how did
yes.
you pitch that experience as relevant to the insurance industry? Whether it's your resume or in the interview itself, what did your stories look like?
Sure. I focused a lot on the teamwork aspect, team leadership from, and also like helping customers, understanding what they want, even reaching back a ways here. But when I was working in a bookstore, people come in and be like, oh, I'm looking for this book and it's yellow. Like, okay. Oh, and it was on Oprah last week. I'm like, okay, well, it and 17 other books. But then you find it for them because you're there to solve a problem. And it's very similar to like working with a team or working with clients or product owners in the software world. Most of your product owners don't really know how to describe what they're looking for.
Mhm.
It's like, oh, we want it to do this. Okay, we'll make it
Yeah,
work.
this is where I say that the traditional education system kind of set me up for failure early on in my career because I felt like when I was going through school, there is a known answer that the teacher has the key to and you are evaluated against. Whereas in reality, the teacher will say your manager, product owner, they typically don't even know what they want.
Yeah,
And there is no necessarily right way of doing it. There are so many, yes, there are best practices, but so much context is derived from the industry or the certain application context that you're developing it in, the language, etc. There's so many different approaches you can take. And then even then,
absolutely.
school, you have like these hard deadlines when really I feel like in at work, I can co-create the deadline, right? I'm allowed to push back and ask questions and
Sure.
depending on the scope, it's all a
Yeah.
negotiation. And that was just something that I wasn't ready for when I entered the job market, but maybe coming from retail that you were more comfortable with.
It was definitely a positive for me, just, you know, dealing with angry customers during the holidays. Like, there's not really a whole lot you can do to get under my skin at this point in my life, you know?
Yeah, there's a certain amount of
Um,
like a professional apathy that's needed. And I say that because there's always going to be bugs. There's always going to be, something not working exactly right. And there's oftentimes a stakeholder or two in your ecosystem that's could be a little aggressive. And just recognizing just because things are difficult at work doesn't mean like I need to be stressed about it. Just because I missed a deadline doesn't mean I need to worry about it. And you just kind of let it roll off your back.
yeah, the the look on people's face when they come at you, angry or upset or frustrated with not getting something, and you just look and be like, "Okay, we'll fix it."
Yeah.
Don't into the drama, and it's like, "Wait, what?
Yeah. Yeah.
No, it's gonna be fine."
It's going to be fine. Nobody, at least in insurance, this might be different. I'll say the projects that I've worked on, nobody's going to die if it takes
Yeah,
another day to get a feature out. Nobody's going to get
yeah,
hurt if it takes me another day to finish something. At the end of the day, remember the context that you're operating in. It's just code. Everybody calm down.
yeah,
It's going to be okay.
yeah. All gonna be fine.
Absolutely. Well, then, so help me understand then, now that you're successfully hired, you're doing it, right? You're living the dream.
Yeah.
Looking back at the job search, whether it's getting that interview or being more successful in the interviews that you got, is there anything that you would have done differently, prepared differently, approached differently that you think other bootcamp grad self-taught developers should know as they're entering the job search?
I think I would have done more practice interviews, just even whether it's behavioral or technical. I think they're both equally important because so many people want to focus on the technical interview and like, oh, I'm going to be so embarrassed if I don't know the answer to the code question. They generally don't expect you to know if you're like, I don't know the answer off the top of my head, but here's how I would do it, or here's how I would find it. That's really what they're looking for. Mm. But I would have spent more time just kind of going through some practice interviews, having some more friends like throw me harder behavioral
hmm
questions or harder technical questions.
Yeah, absolutely. Getting some at bats under your belt, so that when it actually does matter and you're talking to the company you're most excited about, you don't actually just completely biff it. Two services I want to recommend if people are looking for some mentorship or practice interviews that are free for you to join, but ADP List and Mentor Color. I'll put it in the show notes for this episode, but both of them you can sign up for mentorship from a senior or more experienced developer. And over your 15-minute, 30-minute conversation, you can focus on whatever you want whatever you want to talk about. So if it's practice interviews, you can go ahead and do that during those mentorship sessions. Well, very good, Todd. It was a great conversation. Thank you for helping us understand a little bit more about your background and bring some hope to the job search conversation. So thank you for joining us and thank you to those that are listening. And we will see you all next time. Thanks for tuning in to the Junior Jobs Podcast. We hope you found today's interview helpful as you navigate your own job search in tech. If you enjoyed the show, please remember to like and subscribe as that helps us reach more developers in need. And don't forget to check the show notes for details on today's sponsor and other job search services that we provide. Thanks for listening and have a great day.